This opening round as David Diaz went on the attack early. That was a solid left hand, Hilmer Kenty.
Beautiful left hand, and that's where he was more effective. Early in the round, he was so much more effective with those round, looping left hand and left hooks.
There's where Oleg Saitov walked into a straight left hand.
Yeah. It looks like Diaz kind of returned the favor and walked into one himself.
Well, that's right, he did. David Diaz, maybe a little bit, we should say, unorthodox. Certainly not a glider and slider around the ring. Leading with that left hand. Having another left hand slipped by Oleg Saitov.
I tell you, the Russians very seldom move straight back, though. They're always moving laterally. You saw right there. He moved out with a left hook. He moved to his left and shot a left hook at the same time. Their main thing is to move laterally, which is what they learned from the United States, actually.
It's a heck of an attribute, heck of a weapon when you can flick out that left as you're on the move and have it score.
It does. The left jab or the right jab, the lead jab does so much for a fighter. It sets up punches, it also scores for him. And the main thing, as I said, it just sets up so many things. Good right hand here.
Oleg Saitov, 5'11" tall, with about a 4-inch height advantage over David Diaz. Chicago, Illinois, Steinmetz High School. David Diaz bringing the colors of the Windy City here into Motown tonight.
David Diaz has to get slower. He's standing a little too straight up right now. He has to get low, use the left jab to get on the inside, and then work the body once he gets on the inside. But if he stays on the outside like that, I'll tell you, Saitov is just going to pick him apart.
Diaz again trying to weigh it in. We're halfway through round number 2. He's the 139-pounders, the light welterweight classification. Excellent combination that scored. It connected from Oleg Saitov.
And that's what Saitov is able to do if he's left on the outside undaunted. If Diaz gets on the inside and really rough him up, use the left jab to get on the inside and work the body once he gets on the inside, Saitov will not be successful with those exchanges.
David Diaz now trying to work his way off the ropes against Oleg Saitov. Less than 60 now left in round number 2.
There's Diaz again. He's standing on the outside, just a little too low. He's standing too straight up. I think he needs to get lower, start bobbing and weaving to get on the inside. Also use the left jab to get on the inside. But he's got to do something to break the defense of Oleg Saitov.
Saitov has scored with the more impressive arsenal of offense here through close to 2 rounds now of this contest.
Every time Diaz come in, Saitov just takes a half step back and he counters with a left jab or right hand.
We'll be back for round 3 of the light welterweight 139-pounders after this. Talked about how very technically smart the Russians are, Hilmer Kenty. We see it right here as Oleg Saitov goes to work.
Yeah, look at the lead right hand. He had been shooting the right jab for a long time. That time he came out with a lead left hand, which pretty much confused David Diaz.
That's Diaz now, round 3. Probably going to need a very sweet round and a flurry here to do some damage and maybe change the minds of the judges ringside. And on the attack goes Diaz. Didn't really connect with anything substantial, but at least forcing the issue.
Yeah, he's going to have a big round, and he knows that. But he's going to have to do this for 3 minutes of the round. He can't just do this for 1 minute of the round. Because if he does and he tires out, I'll tell you, this Russian will pick him apart later on in the round. You know this Russian is in good condition, and that's what he's actually doing. He's trying to make Diaz use up his energy so the Russian, so he can come back, Saitov can come back later on in the fight.
As you've said throughout the course, Hilmer Kenty, the experience factor is one that the Russians certainly have in their stable, as all their fighters know their way around the ring and have been in this fight game for the better part of their youth.
Yeah, the other thing is they are all champions. They're all national champions, either national champions or European champions. And a lot of our guys have never won the national championships. So we don't really have our best team, but they're getting a good chance to get in this type of competition.
It's an opportunity. They'll earn their spurs, certainly going against the caliber of competition they are on this Russian squad. David Diaz in the third round, trying to go on the attack, be the aggressor, getting something happening here. As we're halfway through this third against Oleg Saitov, 5'11", very technically sound boxer for Russia.
Yes, he is. That's the word for Saitov. He's technically sound. He knows exactly what to do. Look at that. He moves out. He knows how to get around his opponent.
Except for maybe that first round when Diaz led with a right and then came with a nice left hook. He hasn't really been able to score substantially since.
Yeah, and I really do. I think he caught Saitov pretty much off balance in that early part of the first round. But I tell you, Diaz was very effective in that first round.
Inside 60 seconds left now in the third and final round. Light welterweights, 139-pounders, David Diaz from the USA and Oleg Saitov out of Russia.
I'm sure all these guys will watch the films of these fights, and they'll be able to see where they made their mistakes, or what they can do next time to combat their Russian counterparts.
David Diaz heard it from the crowd here in downtown Detroit, although, quite honestly, his shots were pretty much glancing and got picked off by Oleg Saitov.
Yeah, he's throwing big shots, but Saitov is pretty much blocking all that. You can tell this Russian Saitov, he knows his way around the ring. He's got a lot of experience.
Relentless in his pursuit. That is it. You hear the bell. 9 minutes through. Oleg Saitov, extremely impressive. The 139-pound light welterweight Russian against the USA's David Diaz will await the decision from the judges. However, it was carried pretty much in its entirety by Oleg Saitov.
Yeah, it looks like Saitov pretty much figured David Diaz out early in the first round, and he sort of just went with that. He knew exactly what to do, and he did it for what, at least 2.5 rounds.
Sure.
I pretty much gave David Diaz the early part of the first round, but for the rest of the fight, it was all Saitov.
Well, as we await the judge's decision, Hilmer, we just touched on a moment ago, though, these young men from the USA gaining experience, and of course, and they all have their eyes on the potential of Olympic competition. You went through that, the Olympic trials back in 1976, and it's grueling, it's arduous, and I guess it certainly makes a man out of you in a lot of respects in a big hurry, doesn't it?
Right, it certainly does. And you gain a lot of experience in a hurry, especially fighting against some of the foreign fighters, because you fight against styles that you've actually never seen before, never actually conversed with before. So it's a lot of experience whether you win or lose. It's always much nicer to win, but you always gain the experience whether you win or lose, and probably even more if you lose. And these guys, I'm sure they'll look at the tapes after these fights are over, and they'll find things that they did wrong, and they will go back to the gym, and they will find out how to combat these Russian opponents.
You personally, were you able to, as you said, as you looked at things and after you went through the experience, were you able to take things away from that and say, hey, maybe I use this, use that, take a little bit of this and that, and make myself a much more proficient fighter?
Yeah, you always look at it after the fight, and you always say to yourself, I don't understand why I did not figure that out.
Ladies and gentlemen, your winner on a 3-0 decision in the red corner from Russia, Oleg Saitov. Saitov, your winner.
Well, certainly no surprise there. Oleg Saitov, your winner, 3-0, dominated except for the early, very, very early, within 30 seconds, first round early, David Diaz, one and only flurry of the fight.
Yeah, I just think he was so effective in that fight in boxing David Diaz.
There's more to come. The USA and Russia going after each other from Joe Louis Arena in downtown Detroit when we return.